that it may be well with thee, and thou mayest live long on the earth. I think that's what we want to do today, is just take time to honor our fathers and mothers, those that have been walking a journey before us and setting an example before us. I remember the days I was out there. I could care less what was going on under here. I remember the old people getting together. At that time, the old people were 30 and 40, and we thought, we don't have time for that. We're playing, but what the generation that went before us has done has marked our life. And even though we weren't here all the time listening, we did get the impact and influence of a generation. And my great concern is, what about the next generation? What about those that are following us, those that are walking after us now? What will they see? As I thought about the trunk of the Davidson tree, and again, I don't want to insinuate the cyanans and all the other trees aren't important, but we're here at a Davidson reunion, and I began to think about the Davidson tree and the aunts and uncles and mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers that we have to remember. And I asked Aunt Winky who they were, who's gone. Give us a list. And I'll mention that list in just a minute. But when I think about our family, there are some things that stand out. I think we are in one of the best families there ever was. Amen. And as you look back over the group that's gone before us, they knew what family was all about. Yes. I mean, it was a family thing. And family reunions weren't something they had to go to. It's something we get to go to. And it seemed that there was great times at every family reunion. Every time we went, we'd have a ball, we'd have a blast. But I wanted to mention just a few things about the Davidson family that has impacted my life, and I believe many other lives as well. First thing I want to say is it was a God-fearing family. Now I'm talking about the trunk. I'm talking about the trunk of the Davidson tree. I'm not talking about myself as much as I am the generation ahead of me that has definitely impacted our life. And I think about the family that has passed, those that have gone on, and our aunts and uncles, brothers and sisters. And I saw in them a real reverence of God. It wasn't a fear and a sense of intimidation, but it was a sense of awe. I saw that in them. I remember how they prayed and how they sung and how they worshiped and how they loved the Lord. It was a fear of God, not just a fear, but also a real love. I remember these ladies singing and the other guys getting around singing, and it wasn't a labor. It was it was a labor of love. You know what I mean? It was just like we enjoy singing about Jesus. We enjoy singing about God. And I really was blessed by that. You'd feel drawn to that. We'd be outside, but you'd still hear it coming out the windows and stuff like that. And that marked my life, this fear of God and love for God and a faithfulness to their churches. Something we're seeing happen in our earth today is people have drifted from the church, but I think if you look back over those names I'm going to mention in a moment, they were all attached to their church because their church represented God. And I think they put a value to church, at least in my life. I remember when I said I'll never go back to church because I'd gone 5 days every week, 7 and 8 days the other part. I just churched all the time, and I thought I had all I needed for a lifetime. But that marked my life for a lifetime. Their love, their reverence for God, their fear of God, their love of God is just a blessing to me. Then another thing, take it outside of the God picture, is their love for each other, their love for family. And I think that's something we too see a need for in the earth. It's just a loss of family. There's people that don't know where they belong. There's no sense of belonging. And yet, in our family, we saw this. I saw first an honor from Mom and Dad. I have never heard any one of this trunk of the tree say anything negative about Grandpa and Grandma. Never. I've never heard it. And I think if you would and had said something like that around them, you might not say it again either. But there was just a love, a deep reverence from Mom and Dad. And I guess Grandpa and Grandma weren't perfect. Like everybody else, they probably had their quirks and their problems, but there was a great respect and a love. And I see that in the Davidson tree, how they honored them. I also see how they honored their spouse. If you look back over